What's up, Shady Sports Network? I'm back here with a very special guest, Mr. Joseph Hess, quarterback for the Orlando Predators. Yo, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thankful to be here. How are you?
I'm doing great. Really excited to have you on. So, kind of diving right into it. This is your rookie season playing football. You started with Albany. You transitioned to Orlando. Talk about that transition.
I was only in Albany for about 2.5 weeks, but it was really cool being there. It was an all-star team in a way. So it was just kind of cool being a sponge, being around a bunch of vets right off the top, being in college last fall, getting thrown into the fire with a bunch of guys who've been in the NFL, who've been just playing ball for over 10 years. It was really cool. It was really cool. And then the transition from here to Orlando, climate-wise, it was a little bit different. Organizationally, a lot different, but the standard was still the same in Orlando. Competition was the same in Orlando in a way. So the transition wasn't exactly complicated, but very different for sure.
For sure. So, one game that really stood out to me was that game you had against the Jacksonville Sharks, where you totaled 7 touchdowns, which I believe is a record for a rookie quarterback, which is really impressive. Um, how were you able to compete at such a high level against the Jacksonville Sharks?
My team and coaches allowed that to happen in a way. We just were kind of clicking. I got here the game after our first game. We played against Albany, and then it was my second start, and we just had a really good week of practice. We came out there and we just kind of played ball. We were loose. We didn't play as if we had nothing to lose, but at the same time, we just played very cohesive as a team. Coach Herkey called an excellent game. Coach EJ called an excellent game defensively. There's a lot of ups and downs throughout the game, but ultimately I was just kind of on my P's and Q's pre-snap. I knew where I was going. I knew what the defense was doing. I made every throw. It was just one of those days, man. I just kind of had the ice in my veins, for sure.
For sure. So, kind of like going all the way back to your high school career. In high school, were you a multi-sport athlete?
Yes. I mean, throughout all of high school, I lettered in about 5 sports. I stopped playing baseball after my sophomore year, but I mean, I was playing basketball, AAU, year-round, baseball, track, soccer, football. It was a smaller high school, so I kind of was able to do that. And I've never really been into video games or anything, so competition has been my thing, and that's what kept me, entertained in a way. So yeah, I'm very well versed in many sports.
That's awesome. I think playing multiple sports is really important for long-term success. So,
For sure.
during your senior year of high school and going into college, what was your recruiting process like?
Um, it was a little bit different junior year opposed going into senior year. Junior year, it was very active. Good amount of the Big Ten, a lot of AA, D1 AA schools, But the November after Thanksgiving of my junior year, I ended up, long story short, losing about 25 pounds due to some illness. So I went from about 215, 6'4", to about 6'4", 178 at my lowest. So the whole off season of my junior year, I was having doctors tell me like, football your senior year may not be a thing and whatnot. So the recruiting kind of slowed down for sure going into my senior year. And I missed a whole semester of school basically with my illness. My illness is where I had pneumonia and I had influenza A, and my immune system had been compromised because, like I said, I was a 5-sport athlete. So I think I'd run my body physically into the ground, just being 16, 17 years old. I don't think my immune system could keep up. So recruiting slowed down for sure in a way, but I ended up getting right back up to about 220 going into my senior year. I was working out 2-3 times a day. Being told by a doctor that you can't play your senior year of football probably is the last thing they should have told me. But it was definitely a kind of an up and down process, but I learned a lot along the way, and I learned to appreciate being able to play, especially when you had an opportunity to not be able to play, for sure.
So, during that time period when you had the illness, what did you do to stay mentally right during that time?
I just nothing specific, to be honest with you. I was just visualizing being able to get back on the field. That was my only thing. I think visualization is one of the most important things for me. And just the times when I wasn't even able to squat the bar or anything like that, I just knew. I was like, man, you just got to stay with it. There wasn't any type of specific thing that I did, but I think it's just having the mental fortitude and the all knowing that it's going to work out.
For sure. No, you have to, continue to have a positive attitude through the hard times.
Absolutely.
So kind of going into college, I see on Twitter you were talking about, having to sleep on the floor at junior college. Talk about that experience.
Well, I was at College of the Canyons where Marquise Brown was. There's a good amount of other alumni at College of the Canyons. It's a great junior college, but the thing about junior colleges in California is they don't provide meal plans or housing like the other junior colleges throughout Middle America, Mississippi do. So it wasn't just me, but there's hundreds, thousands of young men that go out there with a dream to get an offer, junior college, and they do whatever they got to do, living out of their car, staying at friends' houses and whatnot, just to survive in a way. You know, it was very, it was kind of life changing in a way. It was very eye opening for me. It made me realize how important the game of football was to me. There was a good amount of nights, man. Using some of my clothes for a mattress and whatnot, using hoodies for my blankets and whatnot. But I mean, at the same time, I didn't let that deter what I knew was in store for me. You know, I was still on a college football team. I still had the opportunity, and I mean, I knew I was eventually going to be able to live a little bit better. Having a bed and whatnot. But that first month or so out there, man, it was a struggle. I'll just put it that way. But I used it as a way to respond positively, to learn and grow.
That's great. That you were able to overcome that. So after junior college, what was your process looking like?
I was going to go to Northern Iowa. Um, Coach Farley there and I have been, on and off having conversations. I've looked up to Coach Farley. He was the first Division I coach to ever contact me at a very young age. But since I've been to multiple junior colleges, credits transferring and whatnot got very kind of complicated. And long story short, I wasn't accepted into admissions due to certain credits transferring in. So I ended up going to some NAI school and figuring it out, and was able to get some film and everything like that. So it was kind of complicated in a way, but the goal is always just to be playing football, playing college ball. So yeah.
So, I mean, you talked about it a little bit. You're fresh off of college. What has that process been like for you in terms of, post college with like your personal life, work life, and then playing football?
Well, I mean, there hasn't been any work life. I was in grad school for clinical psychology, but I ended up hitting it off with an agent in Houston at the school I went to last fall. He kind of took me under his wing, kind of saw a lot of potential in me. He was the one who actually got my foot in the door with getting NFL interest and, having GMs like keep an eye on me and whatnot. And so the process hasn't been necessarily difficult because immediately after my senior year, I made this my life. I sold my car and whatnot so I could, pay to train with trainers and whatnot. Like I've been 100% dialed in just on the football aspect. The hardest part about it is just adapting, playing with grown men. These grown men know exactly what they're doing. A lot of these guys have been in the NFL. In college, you play against NFL talent, but it's maybe one guy, maybe two guys, maybe guys that you're not even playing against. They're on the other side of the ball. Here, everybody is like that. Like everybody, you know, yeah, I mean, I don't really need to get into it, but everybody belongs here. All these guys are dudes. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. The game moves much faster. You got to put in the work to, compete.
For sure. Um, So this being your first season of arena football, do you like the way like the league is run as a whole?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's IFL and NAL. I think there's other leagues as well, but the AFL's coming in as well. I love the games are insane. There's nothing like a arena football game to me. It's very intrusive in a way. The fans are right there. I'm getting a play from Coach Herky or Coach Ware, and there's fans behind me saying whatever the heck they're saying to me, like right there. So like, it's a very type of unique game. It's erotic. The quarterbacks are in a way not protected at all. There's not many roughing the passer calls happening. So there's a lot of big time hits, not just on the quarterback, but all positions. It's very, 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 very just like an eccentric type of form of football in a way, high scoring. Yeah.
Definitely. So kind of, I mean, I know you're focused on the season, but the off season is fastly approaching. What is your plan for the off season?
Mm, Nothing specific in a way. We're going to see what happens, after this season moving forward, me and my agent, sending my film out. I have a few teams keeping tabs on me at certain levels and whatnot, but at the same time, I haven't really thought about that. You asking that question to me is kind of flustering. I'm focused on the better I do right now with Orlando, with the team that I have, being a responsible quarterback to them. I feel like other things will work out for that. So I'm not really worried about, what life's going to be like after this season. What I'm worried about is, beating West Texas, first of all. And it looks like we'll be going into Jacksonville for round one. So I'm worried about that as well. Those are the only two things on my mind, to be honest.
So kind of, I look around indoor football, and currently there's two lefty quarterbacks in out of all 19 teams between the IFL and the NAL. You being one of those two, I know Jeff LeGree is a lefty quarterback too. So, what was your relationship with Jeff?
Well, Jeff is 34. I'm 24. So Jeff, off top, has so much just knowledge he's probably forgotten just along his road. Being a professional quarterback, Jeff, I'm pretty sure went like 52-0 in high school at Hamilton Prep in Brooklyn. So Jeff is, take away the football player, like Jeff is just an excellent person just to be around. We hung out every night. Like, yeah, I have nothing but high praises for Jeff. He's unfortunately him and the team went separate ways and whatnot, but yeah, I'll always value Jeff as a teammate, as a friend. We still talk regularly and whatnot. It was really cool just being a young guy, kind of naive to certain things on the business side of ball and whatnot. He's a great help.
So, one thing I noticed from your Instagram is that you're very into your fashion, different things like that. Where did you get your fashion sense from?
Um, I appreciate that actually. I actually feel like the complete opposite when it comes to fashion. That's a great compliment. I appreciate that. I don't know. I like to. I mean, like Dion said, you look good. Hold on. You look good. You play good. I just like to have just kind of a clean sense to me in a way. I don't like to look bummy. I like to look like I care in a way. I'm not trying to look professional and whatnot, but I've always just trying to look a little bit buttoned up. But yeah, I've never really been a fashion fanatic. I've just always tried to look, put together in a way. Yeah.
For sure. Man, drip is important. It's
Oh, 100%. 100%. The outfit you pick pulling up to the arena, I think that plays a role. Yeah, you're right. Very important.
Are you in the off season? Are you planning to stay in Orlando, or are you gonna go to?
I haven't even thought about it, man. That's a very good question. I don't know where I'm going to go after this season. I could see myself settling in Orlando for the off season and whatnot, but I may be flying around for certain workouts and stuff like that as well. So that's a very good question. I need to get to the bottom of pretty soon. But right now, Orlando's the spot for the next 3-4 weeks.
So being grad school, we talked about it a little earlier. How would you compare like the rigor of grad school to being a quarterback in this league?
Well, I was in clinical psychology. I think being quarterback is a huge. It's a very psychological position in a way. It's a lot like with being a head coach or defensive coordinator and whatnot. Every guy on the field has a certain specification to them. Centers are different than guards. Guards are different than tackles when it comes to body types and mentalities, and different assignments they have. A slot receiver is a little bit different than your running back, and like each receiver is a little bit different. They respond to different tidbits a little bit different. Each guy responds to adversity a little bit different. So being in the psychology field, I think, really helps me in a number of ways. So, but when it comes to the school grind, it's kind of the same as preparing for your opposing team, studying film, studying tendencies, studying what teams like to do on third down midfield opposed to third down in the red zone or in minus territory and whatnot. So, I mean, in a way, being a student at a high level really correlates well to being a quarterback at the professional level when you have grown men depending on you as a quarterback to, get the job done and manage.
For
For
sure.
sure.
So coming up on my last couple of questions here. Personally, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 4 years, both on the field and off the field?
These are great questions, man. I love these. I want to be taken care of financially. I want to be able to take care of my, family financially. I'd love to be in the NFL. I mean, I think that's nothing out of my reach, over time. I have a lot to work on and I'll always be an unfinished product and whatnot, but I'd love to get an opportunity at that level. But ultimately, the goal is just to make money playing football. There's always a main goal that you want, but at the same time, I'm very blessed to be where I'm at right now. Let alone in 3 to 4 years, I don't even know what I can tap into with my potential. But either way, I see myself being happy. I see myself loving the game even more. I see myself becoming a lot more intelligent, not just as a football player, but as a young man. And yeah, I mean, eventually I'd probably like to start a few hobbies for the off season. I don't know what, maybe get into surfing, hunting, golfing, who knows? Who's to say? But yeah, ultimately I just want to reach my highest potential as a football player, as a quarterback, and as a person.
Then you talk a lot about the importance of family. How much have they meant to you throughout your journey?
No, I mean, they're the reason why I started. They're the reason why I did it. My dad immediately, from when I was able to walk and whatnot, had me throwing to baseball, football. He always had baseball and sports on. So it's just kind of been in my DNA. My parents are both athletes and whatnot. They play a huge role in it. And it's not just the passion for sports, but if you want to become a really good athlete at any level, they taught me certain values. I was never told to, hey, go work out, hey, go throw, hey, go train, hey, go watch some film, like, hey, you're partying too much. It was never an issue. And I owe that to my parents. They instilled and programmed really good habits in me from a young age, and certain habits transcended. And I think they gave me the ability to make it out of a small NAIA school and get pro due to the fact that I was able to stand out physically and whatnot.
Where do you see what's your biggest piece of advice? Like nowadays with the youth, there's a lot of social media, there's a lot of different things going on. So what's your biggest piece of advice to younger people?
Just keep going. If you genuinely think that you can go pro, then that's up to you. Um, I think it's very important networking and getting the right representation, but yet at the same time, man, film does not lie. It never has lied and it never will lie. So if you put in the work, you take care of your grades in college, you make plays, you stay out of trouble. I mean, I don't know, man. I've never seen somebody give it 100%, everything, and it not work out in some way. So, I mean, if you really want it and you genuinely think that you can go pro and you genuinely think that you're worth, you know, whatever you see yourself becoming and getting, then yeah, man, you can go get it. I don't care if you're in junior college, fourth string, or whatever. And that's my best advice. The best thing you can bet on is yourself, 100% every time.
Well, Joseph, it's been awesome having you on the show. Got a lot of respect for you. I'm really excited. You're 13 yards away from 900 passing yards on your rookie season, so that's a huge accomplishment. Um, but man, keep grinding. I look forward to seeing you at a high level for sure.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you reaching out. These questions have reset my perception on a lot of things, man. I appreciate you, asking really good questions and whatnot. Feel free to reach out anytime.
No problem, man. Keep grinding.
Yes, sir.
Game
Yes,
changer.
sir.